Paradox games always excel with the use of mods, and Crusader Kings 3 is no exception. From completely game-changing mods to Beauty and the Breast, I mean, more beautiful, more bigger, simple as. But today, we're covering mods that I consider pretty essential. So none of these will completely change the game, but add nice features that I just can't play without. If everybody watching this subscribes, I would hit my goal in no time, and it would really mean a lot to me. Thank you. First, Councillors experience trait. And I use this mod every single time I play. You may have noticed it in all my recent gameplay videos. Basically, it adds a trait for each position, and anyone on the council has a 1% chance every year of gaining the trait or upgrading to the next level, which there's 3 levels in total. Novice giving a +2 to the related skill, the second level granting a +5 and 5% more experience, and finally, Renowned level comes in with a +6 and 10% more experience, and each one will slightly boost their efficiency at their job, so speeding up things like converting counties, increasing control, and so on. I do just find it so strange that currently people don't really improve doing their 20 years as my steward. It just doesn't make too much sense. I mean, I definitely do not use this mod just to put my heir on the council and eventually give them a +6 in the desired skill. No chance. Balanced buyable building slots is up next, and whoa, don't click off just yet. I know it says balanced, but I also had my doubts originally too. Like, surely Paradox put these limits there for accuracy and balance, but the more I thought about it, it is pretty stupid to have hard limits, as if I develop a county so much and invest a lot of time building the area up, I feel I should be rewarded with the ability to unlock some extra slots. Anyway, the way this works is, the first slot needs the county to have 40 development and will cost 800 gold to unlock. Second is 60 dev and 700 gold, and finally, the third slot requires 75 development and 500 gold. So this is just a nice thing for those players who focus on building up their baronies by allowing them to increase their power without needing the extra land. Next, Multilingual Education quickly became an essential mod after the release of the Royal Court, as it does just end up feeling like a chore to have to relearn all the languages you want each time your character dies. You can currently click on your child and have them study a second language as long as you have a decent court tutor, but this just streamlines that process to the max by giving you the option to select up to 3 languages for the children of your court to learn, and some other options deciding how much you want to pressure and stress them out to learn these other languages. On a similar note of streamlining certain things, mastermind conversion is huge for this, as lately I've done some challenges like creating a cult where I need to take a lot of land, meaning I can sometimes end up with like 20 Catholic vassals that I do want to try and convert to my cult. So typically you would go through them all one by one. Well, now there's no need. This adds a decision with 4 different options, which let you pick between direct or indirect vassals, courtiers, and all members of your dynasty. And as simple as that, with about 2 clicks, you just asked 50 people to convert. Court positions expanded adds a total of 22 brand new jobs to help run your realm. Some do require certain religions, like the Grand Vizier, requiring a king who follows Islam, or the Court Sorcerer, only available for followers of a religion that does accept witchcraft. But there's also things like the Royal Tax Collector and the Master at Arms, who gives you extra knights and knight effectiveness. I'm sure you get the gist of the mod, but the more choice is never really a bad thing, and this does it really well. Next is a seemingly simple mod. Factions explained. But for new players especially, factions can just seem impossible to understand. And even veteran players alike, it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to know what their problem is. Well, now any member in a faction will have a new icon over their portrait, clearly showing you their reasons for joining the factions, ranging from things like their opinion of you, being from different cultures and faiths and so on, with a clear total at the top. So this just gives you a few pointers to focus on if you would prefer to deal with these factions in a peaceful manner. Now next we do have 3 different mods, but they all pretty much do the same thing in a way. We have auto conversion, auto promote culture, and auto increase control. And this will just save you the frustration of not noticing your steward finishing converting a county and then he just changes to tax collecting and wastes 5 years. They also do have like a system set that helps them prioritize correct things first, so it's not just completely random across your entire realm, like you'll focus on your capital first. And that may be a little bit frustrating, but you know what's even worse since artifacts were added? The fact that seemingly every single family member gets a claim on all of your artifacts. And they don't shy away from demanding them from you either. As currently, as soon as a cadet branch is formed, they all keep their claims on your items, and it just gets worse the more of your dynasty members that are landed. It does feel like a bit of an oversight by Paradox in my opinion. So with this, only people with a personal claim can demand these artifacts. This also happened a lot in my recent Viking playthrough. It was incredibly annoying to be spammed by random counts of my dynasty demanding some random item I didn't even know I had. Another weird thing added in the recent 1.5 patch was how two cultures only slightly different from one another, such as in the mod description they mention how cultures with West Germanic heritage will consider Central Germanic cultures as foreign as Chinese ones. This of course makes no sense. So as a fix for this issue, they have added some cultural acceptance to cultures that share heritage or share the same language groups and so on. And that is kind of the main change of the mod, and it does make a big difference. But it does also do some other littler things like making similar languages easier to learn and makes the AI more likely to learn similar languages. Farewell Chaplain fixes the first problem I ever encountered in Crusader Kings 3, being stuck with a bishop that has the learning of an actual slug. But it's not broken where you can just choose anyone. You get the choice of 2 candidates selected by a head of faith every 10 years. And it will cost you some piety to ask and then some gold to actually recruit this person, but to me it's the perfect system, as it's not as restrictive as vanilla, but it's not broken where you can just select whoever you want. It's that perfect middle ground. And for all you role players out there, a new Sensible Family 2 gives you the ability to reflect on your character's life at the start of the game. So you take a decision, spawning a mother, father, siblings. You get to select some of their traits and such. It does really help in the early game when you just spawn with no family history. It's a bit weird. So it's just a nice change to have some family to interact with from the get-go. It really helps you step into that role-playing mindset. Very immersive events and tales, or better known as VIET. Currently adds over 800 new events for you to experience and is still actively being worked on. These events are great because it doesn't really matter what religion, culture, or part of the map you play on. They can add that extra bit of flavour at all times. And if you've played CK3 for a fair amount of time, it's not that unlikely that you've seen the same events dozens of times. So this just really helps keep things fresh during your campaigns. Now some people may disagree with the next one, as you can just click a simple button to clear all the notifications, but clear notification lets you quickly click F and they all disappear, as simple as that. Hiraeth Dynasty Legacy's Overhaul may be the most game-changing mod on this list, but it does really make a massive difference to legacies. As right now, it's basically wait for enough vassals to come see you in your throne room, unlock the next legacy, and rinse and repeat. This though completely flips that on its head. You now must complete certain tasks and make your dynasty worthy of these legacies. There's also a pretty major rework with a lot of changes to the trees, especially the third tier of each one, as each one will now unlock a new decision for you. And I'd really love for Paradox to implement something like this, as right now they're not exactly legacies. You don't do anything to earn them. This fixes that on top of some really nice changes throughout the trees. Now next up we have the mostly mechanical mods collection. Now not all of these mods will be right for everyone of course, but none of these massively change up the game, other than maybe Trick or Trait, which will hide physical traits from children unless revealed through some events. But you do get things like Prisoners of War, which attach prisoners from sieges to their captive's army instead of just teleporting them across the map. Or terms and conditions may apply, which reworks how contracts are negotiated by taking into account different characters' personalities and so on. There's just a bunch of mods here, but it is worth checking out each mod page and giving them a quick read if you are completely unfamiliar with them. And last for this list, we have more Bookmarks Plus. And if you've watched some of my recent gameplays, you may have been expecting this one. It's definitely pretty different from all the others due to it being a pretty major change, but you end up getting a total of 22 bookmarks, all the way from 769 AD to 1337 AD. So if you are getting bored with the current choice of 2, like I kind of was in some ways, this lets you experience so many different scenarios. I recently created a full video about another essential mod, so if you want to hear more about that one, check this video out. And of course, thank you all so much for watching, and a massive thank you to Intermia1, Harold Volmer, Victor Voss Anderson, and Random Icelander.